Cutting edge guests, awesome, uncensored, jaw-dropping information, plus funny memes, good deeds, and loads of laughter. Kind of have it all. Ladies and gentlemen, if your soul's awake, then welcome, because you're in the right place. Where We Go One, We Go Out Weekly is back here on Wednesday, right before American Thanksgiving. This is the Told You So edition. Thanks to Spiritual Street Fighter 17, President Trump has been igniting Truth Social. Where we go one, we go all. Nothing can stop what is coming. It is time to obliterate the deep state. Military tribunals are a must. Military is the only way. Sedition equals death penalty, and so much more. Join Derek and myself, Brad Wozny, on this live stream today so that when you get away from this, you have enough information to wake up the target audience at your kitchen table. Those who required you to wear a mask and show a vaccine passport in order to sit down and enjoy a turkey leg and some mashed potatoes and gravy. But while you're at it, don't forget the homeless, especially the homeless veterans everywhere in the world. Keep them in your prayers and do what you can do to help them when you see them. We'll see you soon.
In the proud spirit of America and in the proud spirit of our great country,
I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
All of you know how that song goes. Welcome back to Wednesday, the 26th. Like I said in the intro, Rattletrap 1776.com has just gotten down from his deer stand. He has booked it right back here, been freezing his butt off. No deer at the moment. And then after this live stream, he's got a big drive ahead of him for family Thanksgiving. So everybody, welcome back. Derek Johnson, we are here at the I Told You So show. So congrats to all of you who've held the line, who've been waiting, who've been reading Midnight Rider 1, 2, 3. The Bible, 1 and 2, I guess, instead of the Bible. And for everybody around the world, for everyone who has a veteran or a first responder or a Leo who has served, even a healthcare hero in the benevolent, we thank you. We thank you as well for everybody who stood for the children. And remember, wherever you are, if you have a homeless veteran that you see, please give that man or woman love, tender care, blessings, whatever you can do, especially at this time of year, because it's getting cold all across our areas in North America. So welcome back, brother. And I'm sorry you didn't get deer. Like, we were having a quick pre-chat before the intros came on, but it'll happen. It'll definitely happen. And thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I like froze to death this evening. I was sitting right over two creeks. I'm right in the middle, like on an island. Had to wade through the water to get over, so that also made it a little chillier. So it is what it is.
You don't have waders? You don't have anything?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got wet. Oh yeah. No, but you know, when your boots are wet on the outside still and it's chill, and the wind was blowing really bad, so that's also probably why I didn't see anything. So it's all right. Yeah. I have till February the 10th, so I'll make it.
Yeah, it's plenty of time. Plenty of time. Roddy72 is in the chat. Looks like this man is in Georgia. and was talking about back from last week was awesome. Just talking about the burgers, so amazing. I think we got a little bit of Georgia, not a Florida Georgia line going on here, but it might be a Georgia Bama line going back and forth in the chat. So thank you everybody from YouTube, Rumble, who are on here right now. God bless all of you who are traveling, listening in on this broadcast and aren't watching live because you're driving to where you need to go to your family. This, again, is the told you so moment. So, again, people have been blowing up the chat about National Guard. The 2 National Guards been shot in D.C. on 17th Street, and just initiated less than 2 hours ago that President Trump ordered Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to deploy another 500 National Guard on the streets. And we know we're in a wartime environment, so we'll go right over to Derek, who's just been catching up on the post from P-Day GT today. And right before we do, want to acknowledge Patriot Street Fighter. I almost said Street Fighter like Scott McKay because I was having a quick text with him today. But Street Fighter 17, excuse me. I had him on the line. I got to actually text him after this. And so here are the 4 posts 2 days ago that President Trump took from her and reposted across X and True Social. So the first one I just showed you is nothing can stop what's coming. Here it is, TikTok. And then we also have remember your oath. And then finally, time to obliterate the deep state. And on the same day, just about 9 or 12 hours before that, I got my timing right, President Trump had retruthed on Monday that it's time for military tribunals because if your justice system has been corrupted, how do you bypass the corruption? So it looks like Insurrection Act might be here this Thanksgiving. We'll turn it over to Rattletrap for his comments.
Well, it's like we were talking last night on the military panel, which will come out here in a few days. But, that's why it's been so important to hear like a broken record. It sounds that way day in, day out, week in, week out. People say, I don't see anything. I'm like, well, it's because you don't know what you're looking for or looking at. A military occupation, some veterans know that just straight up because whenever we enter a nation, that is technically a military occupation. But we're in an occupation on our own country. The laws and orders outline this. And so, it's never been done before, technically, in one kind of regards. Even though we used a lot of the same tactics in World War II, we shut down the country. There were curfews in World War II. My grandmother, I remember her talking about it. My grandfather talking about curfews. You had to turn your lights off at a certain time, or the military rolled around. And if you didn't, after certain many warnings, then you got reprimanded or you could have been detained depending on how unruly you were being. But it was for your own protection, because in World War II, kamikaze pilots, well, if your lights are on, it's an easy target. So, things back then, some people were probably acting the same way back then who weren't thinking critically or strategically. But the laws and orders outline a military occupation. Now, like the unconventional warfare, that's a whole other layer and tactic and strategy by the military, but not your normal military. And then the laws and orders currently invoked right now outline that as well. So, this is for the normal crowd because they're out there. They've been whining, complaining, griping, thinking that President Trump's a dictator and a Nazi and a king and all these things. They have no idea who the big bad wolves are and were. So it's one of those things where you use an unconventional warfare tactic, riots, strikes. I mean, all of these are tactics of unconventional warfare. So little things like this. I mean, again, Patriots already know 17. How many times do we have to say it till it's mathematically impossible? It's already mathematically impossible where we are now. 179 West Virginia, National Guard in D.C. There's a 17 on the front of that. Then you take the 17 and then the 9 and add it up. That's also 17 on 17th Street. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. And knowing Q is also a clearance, and that's a whole other topic in itself. But military laws, military orders, military strategies, military tactics, military regulations, and military customs are not conspiracy theories. And anyone who keeps saying that, well, they ought to not be invited to Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow. This is plain and simple. Tell them, here you go. Here's the nasty ass cranberry that I don't like. You can eat this. Toodaloo. You don't get any turkey, no ham, no dressing. You can have the cranberry and see your way out of here. But this is moving into that. All those that President Trump posted, then do it Q on the other side where it said obliterate the deep state, and it said do it Q on his suit. He did all this and that military tribunal post the day before they showed Letitia James and quote unquote Comey's trial, their case being dropped. Come on, people. It's all strategic, right? And this is the best way to move in is when you do an attack on our National Guard, who in a normal setting, even if I didn't know what I knew and you didn't know what you knew as a patriot out there, in a normal setting, you wouldn't want your own people attacked. It's the same thing we've been talking about with our law enforcement. All right. At the end of the day, they're doing their job. If you want to just look at it that way, they're doing their job. Why would you want to attack one of them for just doing their job, right? And so that's the stuff we got to eliminate in this nation, and that's where we have to unleash the dogs of war on our own streets. And let's you and I and different people are just hoping to be called back. Now we know it won't happen but we're not even going to get to that level. President Trump has just used the National Guard and Reserve components. He's barely used the Marine Corps. That was just a dabble for the Marine Corps. The rest of the Marine Corps were going back there like, come on, unleash all of us. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So if people would realize that this is all the buildup, and then specifically again, that you have to, when you're cleaning out a system, you still have to make sure it's reset on the same integrity. Like, so you can't skip ahead or loophole this or whatnot. So this has been that build up, and it's getting there. And it's set up. It's set up perfect for your military government. The military government will be afterwards to make sure everything is functioning, thriving, and maintaining and sustaining. But President Trump, the ambassadors that he's been selecting and nominating, it looks just like President Dwight D. Eisenhower, former 5-star general. It looks just like his continuity government plan, where you use military and or businessmen and women in key positions to, have that balance, create that balance.
So let's open up on that. We talked about it last night on the show that you mentioned come out. So expand on that, if you don't mind, for people about chiefs of mission and ambassadors. So again, right, President Trump has the ability to nominate ambassadors to other countries on behalf of America. Then they fall under the authority of Secretary of State Marco Rubio to administer the ambassadors and then flow it back up. So chiefs of mission and ambassadors. So everybody cue in, or cue is always in the vernacular. So clue in to what Derek is saying here as he expands on this point and what it means. Over to you, brother.
Well, they act solo, so you got to have someone who's confident, but also takes the commander's plan and executes that plan as they're riding and flying solo to all the different nations of which they're an ambassador to, which also shows you that the other nations have to be cleaned out as well. Because, we've had situations where ambassadors have either been blocked or put out or kidnapped, etc. So there's a lot of things that's happened through the years that shows you that the people that President Trump's putting in position, I don't know what the ratio is, but from what I looked when he was just posting, at least 7 out of 10 were special operations veterans, which is pretty lethal. Navy SEALs and Green Berets. So the others were, way up here, businessmen and women who have had extensive years of experience with business, finance, and backgrounds of that nature. So, I mean, it's perfect when you look at the grand scheme, because that military government portion, whenever you do a clean out for the people out there, now you and I both know that's being cleaned out, but this is the portion to show them, right? And then it'll be the part where they feel like it's being implemented, even though we know that it's been implemented. But for them, that's what it'll be when they do these tribunals, and it looks like all these people have been removed in that military government. That's what all those people are. And it's the same in another regards, as far as like we're going to have the Congress, right? We're going to have ambassadors, whatnot, but it's who they are this time around, and what their roles and positions were, and then why they were selected for those. It'll look and exemplify a military government. And they will be doing exactly the plans of all of our generals and admirals to make sure we maintain and sustain and implement all the way down from federal, state, and then your local, and then also tribal as well. Can't forget the tribals. So, making sure that we maintain and sustain this, and every key person and every key slot are doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's why it's so important. It's just a massive clean out. And then it's also, people forget, here we are, we're a month away now from 2026. The bar exam is changing to common law, so that shows you in itself. There was an attorney that they interviewed. I say they, but mainstream media had this out, and I'll have it on my Telegram and some of my pages. But there was one attorney, but it was a professor at a law school that was interviewed, and you got to listen to the terminology. He said, they have given us an ultimatum. Who's they, right? If this is a guy that's an attorney at a university, that means it's got to be someone above him, which would be federal and military attorneys. So that would be President Donald John Trump and this whole operation, who have cleaned out all the judicial system. Now, to the average folks out there, it don't look that way right now. It looks like it's chaos, and the judge blocked this, and the judge blocked this, and the judge did this, and the court did this. That's the whole point. President Trump put in an executive order 2 days before those people thought, quote unquote, Joe was inaugurated. 2 days before, President Trump put in a protection order for judges, law enforcement, and prosecutors. Why didn't, quote unquote, Joe revoke that executive order? All right, so it shows you that President Trump put a protection around all these people to do what? Do what's right, right? Meaning we're watching you now. Now the hot seat's on you. Now we're extending the rope to you. Whichever one of you don't want that rope to tighten up, then you probably better tighten up, right? Do what's right by whom? The people and law simultaneous. So see, this whole thing's been as you and I know, it's a game theory, and it's drawing the line of sand. You get to choose your side. Some get to choose the side. Some didn't. Some we snatched out, said, all right, man, you don't get a choice. But when you take some of those out, as you and I know, it's just like anything else with any kind of ringleader out there. You take the ringleader out, they from top to bottom better remember all of their contingencies for their dirty contingencies, because when the ringleader goes out, then they got to do what? They got to start making decisions. And that's when they start messing up, because most of the time, most of these people down here, they don't have that critical strategical thinking of their ringleader. And that's when people start making mistakes. You start picking them off one by one wherever you need them.
Yeah, kind of like a senator from Arizona saying, hey, veterans, all those in service right now, don't follow Trump's orders. Oh, well. A couple of people in the chat on Rumble, because we can show here in StreamYard those on YouTube. It won't allow Rumble, unfortunately, so I'll just read off a couple of great ones here. Where we go, one, we go all from JB Patriot. Howdy, gentlemen, and everyone. Optimism at 100 in Alberta from Maggie MD4. Haya from an Aussie. We'll have to rewatch. Great to have the Aussies here from Wisconsin. We've got Hi Derek, much love from Long Island. And no more libs 1776. That's a great handle right there. No more libs. 1776 says when you bag and tag one, that deer will taste that much better. Cool. We've got Northwest Ontario, Buffalo, and Iowa in the chat, Oklahoma, and 47 degrees cold from Adna Kimba. I like this one. Bender Rocks has been here for years. He said, Minga, make Nuremberg great again, which we've had that tagline, which was awesome out in 2021 and 2022 from Freedom Convoy to Epic all the way through. Epic was in Australia, if everybody doesn't know. So yeah, 100%. Put that one on a shirt. TikTok for the COVID tyrants as well. Fantastic to see everybody. T-shirt opportunity in the house. Live T-shirt design is right here in the chat. They're saying, and hey, everyone, good to see you. Hi, Brad and Derek from Caraboco. And we've got Quebec. That's fantastic. Carol Maureen Friesen from Costa Rica all says blessings to all from Heaven and Earth Sanctuary, Costa Rica, Home of the Lightworker Institute. Right on. Here from Memphis, Tennessee. Thanks for being here tonight, gentlemen. That's from Amuse too. And my goodness, it goes on and on and on. I'm scrolling down. Thank you all for continuing in here. And common law, as Adna Kimba 606 says, common law means no license to the state to get married craziness. What did we just see from President Trump put out about the Second Amendment? He's saying, again, right, constitutional amendment, and it's federal, it was signed on. So to repeal all those illegal and unlawful laws across all the states about Second Amendment, concealed carry, open carry as well, right? So again, you see that turn back to the Constitution and the founding fathers and their families. Remember, it was we pledge our lives, we pledge our fortunes, our lives, and our sacred honor. And that's what they wrote in the Declaration of Independence. And you see that coming back from the Alien and the Seditions Act. You see that with the Insurrection Act of 1807. And you're seeing it even today in the markets with what we heard last night as another confirmation, even though it goes to springtime. You can find out Morningstar and Bloomberg and all those other ones that the collapse of the bond market, and verification, the bond market's collapsing, silver and gold going up, returning back to the Coinage Act of 1792, Philadelphia Mint. So what a great time to be in the told you so moment for all of you that are going to be gathering around the table with your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your fathers, your cousins, your young kids that 6 years ago, almost now in lockdown, are teenagers, and you'll be able to share with them educationally. Doesn't really have to be, it's up to you to take it like from a vindication wise as well, and share with them the plan to save the world. And maybe you pull out a copy of Midnight Rider 1, Midnight Rider 2. Maybe you got the Bible, Declaration of Independence over here. You got a little thing called the Constitution over here, some other things. And that just happens to have Derek Johnson's name on it. I don't know. I think that would be a great idea to have those discussions at Thanksgiving. At least get your turkey down and your gravy on the dessert to have those conversations over the holidays, because you got to bring everybody on board with what's to come. Go ahead, brother.
I mean, I don't know how anybody could be friends with a liberal or a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? Like it'd be hard at this point to I mean, it does take a special somebody to have them sitting at the same table, you know, trying to be cordial. And there's no way to dodge these topics right now. There's no way.
No.
Whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know,
it's as real as the water in my cup.
I mean, you know, it's like, what's the dude's name in the freaking Vegas Vacation? The one that was like sitting in the undies in the chair.
Oh, Randy. Oh, cousin Randy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cousin Randy. Yeah. That's what everybody. That's the attitude everybody should have at Thanksgiving as a patriot.
Yeah. So are you going to be doing that in your Ranger panties at Mom's place?
I mean, well, you never know. Well, I may walk in a restaurant like that. You just never know.
That's it, yeah. And then Christmas vacation, right? Hey, Carl. He's got his car. I think now is a good time for everybody we're going to go back to this video, played it in the summertime, just a reminder of what 1776 is all about, and it's got a ton of laughs. Here we go, 1 minute and 4 seconds, what it was like for the British versus the Patriots. Here we are. Enjoy this.
We've just arrived in the colonies because there was some bitching over a tiny 3% tax. Not that big a deal, but whatever, this shit'll be easy.
What the actual fuck? Where the hell are they? Unless they're lined up 10 feet in front of me wearing bright blue uniforms, I can't see them. These guys are such assholes. What kind of a dickhead doesn't line up in a straight line and patiently take turns shooting one another?
Sir, these colonials are worse than gonorrhea. They hide behind trees and pick us off while we pass through single file wearing bright red. And you would know, Corporal, even though we're the superpower of the world, we still don't know how to counter this ingenious tactic of hiding behind trees.
God damn, we've been here 8 years and are just getting our shit pushed in. These boys weren't kidding. They really do hate taxes.
Okay, this is our last stand. We may have a chance if we just... Nope. Shit. Never mind, those ass-smelling French are here. I'm here in place of Cornwallis, because apparently he's really sick today, to deliver terms of surrender to that giant stud right there.
So good.
They really the best line is, where he says they really do take their taxes serious.
Uprising.
That's
taxes.
That's so funny. I love videos like that.
Yeah, it is. It is so good. And back to the chat before we go to you again. We've got Peggleton55 says, we so appreciate you both. We've got North Carolina says, I finally caught a live. You're going to like this. Swing from them. Johnson for 2028. So there you go. You might have Johnson 2028 on a sign. Put it out there. Fun run one here with Derek from the beginning. It's awesome. So good. So good. Montreal's in the chat. Another great, wet, crappy day in Montreal, but great to see, Canadians all across the board from YouTube and Aussies, and then everybody else who will be joining us or watching this on the replay since it's Wednesday night over here. So, man, yeah, cool times ahead for everybody. Cool times ahead. He's really putting the muscle down. Now, I saw this, talking about 17. This was shared over to me today. I haven't had the time yet to go back and check it all. But if it is, it's pretty interesting to consider. So here's what this reads to everybody. If you can't tune into the text. It says, JFK Jr.'s plane crashed in 1999. Donald John Trump elected 17 years later. 17 days before Jr.'s birthday. 17 days before JFK's funeral. Jr. started flying 17 years before the crash. Plane went down 17 miles off of Martha's Vineyard. Plane reported missing 7/17, July 17th. And then we have 17 family members attended his funeral. If even just half of that, maps to 17. There's no freaking coincidence, as it said.
President Trump was elected November the 8th, 2016. So JFK Jr.'s birthday is the 25th. So that is definitely 17 days for sure.
And 11 months, the 8th day.
Yeah.
Well, that equals 19. Then you got 1 is the beginning, 9 is the end. Wow, that's really interesting, huh? Wild. Good stuff. So everybody, remember, Midnight Rider 1, 2, and the book, the Bible, Midnight Rider Bible at rattletrap1776.com. I don't have Derek's link tree here in the chat because it's just easier to say to remember that. But rattletrap1776.com takes it all of his legitimate links, information, his books, his music, and his swag. Is anything. You got any new swag coming out for Christmas time?
Man, I do have a shirt that's a Chris. I got 2 Christmas shirts, but I don't know if they'll show up in here.
Stocking stuffer stickers. I don't want to steal your thunder.
I do have some bumper stickers somewhere, but I don't have them sitting here with me. But I do have a pretty cool Christmas shirt that we came up with. It's got the Grinch on it, and it says "fa," and then the "la la la la" has an X through it, crossed out, and then it says "FO" at the bottom, and it said, "There we go, that's more accurate," and it's signed Don Claus. So
I like it. Well, let's take a
yeah,
right now. Just pull up the website and get right after that. All right. So here's Rattletrap 1776. There's a little quote there by some guy. I've heard his name before. We're a nation of laws and orders. Excuse me. So here we are. So the Christmas sweater, I don't see it on here yet. Is it a pre-order?
What? No, click on gear.
Gear. Okay, gear. All right, cool.
Yeah, there's more than that.
All right, here we go. Yep.
Now go shop all. X that out. Shop all.
Shop all. Hang on a second.
Well, there you go. Scroll down. There it is. There's one.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of them.
Laws and orders. Holiday statement.
There's a hilarious one right there, though.
That is great. I like that with the Grinch right here. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. Fantastic. Good stuff.
That's pretty
followed it out of the way. Yeah, that's great. I like it right there. Oh man, yeah, you just be freaking trigger party. Go out to the bars, whether it's from New York to California, Calgary, Vancouver, Ottawa, Montreal. We're one of those. Absolutely, yeah, guys. If you're single and you're not a beta, and your balls have dropped, and you wear one of those, it's going to be a good night for you with the good ladies. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, don't be a part of the Native American tribe called the Little Balls. Like that's what I called. I said, if I've seen that on the podcast the other night. I said some guys out there, if they had a Native American name, they'd be called Little Balls. But
yeah, they joined the Hitler tribe with the micro penises. I can't say the November Alpha Zulu India word because of YouTube. Then we just found out that yesterday, verified with a certain friend of ours, Michael, that they don't like that. So, but that's the micro penis tribe. You don't want to be part of that tribe. Absolutely. And nobody who's watching these shows are. We've got divine lions, lionesses. That's what this is all about. Very cool. All right. So what's next for you? We'll keep it tight here tonight because you're busy up in a deer stand. The wind was blowing. It was cold. We've got to treat your feet for potential frostbite before you get in the car and you drive.
It wasn't that cold, but it was a little chilly down there, but the wind blowing, and of course I didn't wear a whole lot of clothes. I was literally in sweatpants and a hoodie. But yeah, it's just great to get out though. Like it's great to, like I tell people, get out. If you don't even like to hunt, get out, see that, man, get out in nature, trees, stars, walk. That's one thing I do. I do take my four-wheeler or my ATV, whatever you want to call it, but I'll park halfway still and still walk most of the way, get my exercise in. And that's what one of my doctors told me when I first got out of the military. He's like, man, the best thing you can do to stay out of a wheelchair and to stay off crutches and anything else is he said, pain management, and get out, walk, push yourself. So that's what I do. I love climbing up. It takes me a little longer these days, but I'll climb up in a stand and sit there. And I fell asleep today a little bit. It's a good little nap, That's not bad at all, Nice. And I had some activity. I just couldn't see it. I heard two or three things crash really loud, but once it gets dark, I got a scope that can see at night, but other than that, it's great to get out.
Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, I ran in the ocean this morning, took the goggles, went for the swim, and had 2 stingrays, a mom and her baby stingray, and then an eagle ray, and then I saw a bunch of jellies. I had a little bit of a sting because they're floating. The wind had shifted direction, and I'm like, all right, that's it. I got another sting from a jelly. So did a little bit of a spray on that and got after it. But at some point in time, I'll be down there in the deer stands with you, or up there technically, depending on which way you're looking.
Oh yeah,
north or south. So that's pretty cool. Real quick in the chat before we wrap here, we got Janetto says, I'm late, but made it here. I got my Midnight Rider Bible yesterday. Great reading for snowy Thanksgiving. Love you both, Derek and Brad. Well done, Janetto. That's awesome.
A lot of reading too. I tell people it has no photos. It's 573 pages, and no photos. There are no photos on any of those pages, so it's all reading.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Janetto posted again, says, I absolutely enjoyed the Deplorable Pilgrims. Derek, it's great ammo for libtards. That's awesome. Bender Ox says, feels like a white hat movie to wake up the normies. What's going on here? And 51 in Texas. Somebody else is posting that. Man, that's just wild. Yeah.
Well, it's also showing too. We're they're slowly, without ripping the rug out, they're showing people too what the deep state have been doing with the weather for all these years, because it's starting to be a lot more colder in the South than it ever had been. I mean, at this time of the year, it's always been like brutally hot, still all the way into December. And then our best hunting wasn't until January, and then before you know it, season's out. So it's starting to look more like my childhood again, where it would get a little bit, crisp and brisk in October-ish, and then moving into November, which is perfect. So,
Yeah, pretty awesome. Well, we've got 17 style dating advice being said here in the chat. That's awesome. Yeah, 17 style. Just go over, get it from Rattle Trap, rock it, and then Quebec Carabuco says, we are of the Big Balls tribe, with probably like a dozen exclamation marks on there. Fantastic, and absolutely. So Brad, Derek, fellow Patriots, happy Thanksgiving. Woohoo. For a brand new interest in the chat. That's awesome from Daniels. And thank you all for being here. So we'll leave it with you for final comments, my friend. And then you've got a big drive ahead of you. So go ahead, finish up here with everybody.
Well, I think what we know, and then the laws and the orders. I know people get so tired of certain people, but that's part of being a patriot, part of being a warrior is the consistency. And it won't always be like this, as we know. This is a strategic operation, but it's really cool how they planned it out. I mean, I can't, we're again a day closer to General Vallalay's birthday, and when you think of all the men and women of that caliber, generals and admirals, it's like I told someone the other day. I'm like, right when you think that you feel like maybe, it's like time is standing still on you, or you're letting that little buddy on the left side creep up there and say nothing's happening or whatever it is. I'm like, you got to really think every day. You got to think about what you've witnessed. And it's real simple with what President Trump, it's like I tell people, even though I know Joe wasn't real, but what you tell people is it's what Joe didn't do that shows you that this is an occupation and an operation. It's what they didn't do when it was shown they had authority and power for the normal people. It's what they didn't do that shows this is going on. And so it's kind of like taking Cousin Randy and Lieutenant Dan and putting them in a blender and then having the spirit of both of them, except for don't
with a
yell
little bit
at
of Chaz from Wedding Crashers, a little bit of Chaz. Meatloaf,
Yeah, don't yell at God like Lieutenant Dan, yell at the liberals like, you call this a storm, I'll show you a storm. Well, it's kind of like that attitude where it's like, if you feel something creeping up and you feel like you're twiddling your thumbs, hey, we are too. You could be the most badass secret military operator, and they're still everybody in each position. We're still twiddling our thumbs too, because everybody's doing what we're supposed to be doing where we've been called to do, and so we're twiddling our thumbs too, just like everybody else. But I really do. We were talking last night on the podcast, and I could feel that, like, I just feel like I could run through a brick wall, right? because that's the spirit you're supposed to have with what you're witnessing and what you're watching. And there's not a thing in the world that General Vallely and General McInerney and the generals I know personally, Colonel Sellers, Lieutenant Colonel Bosey, Lieutenant Colonel Lennox, I mean, everybody, Major General Con, there's not a thing in the world those commanders couldn't say to me that I wouldn't do. I'd be like that, run right through a brick wall. I would run through fiery coal barefoot, right? Just everything. So there's so much that people need to not only be thankful for this Thanksgiving, but just realize these generals and admirals, it didn't take that many of them. And even if one faltered, even if one quit, even if one retired, even if one didn't do it, there's somebody right there ready to step up into that place. It's that old saying, hey, you either lead, follow, or get the hell out the way, right? Yeah. So there's always somebody that can step up. And it's so brilliant. If it would have been me, naturally, we all have different whatever. But in this case, there wasn't just one person that was above all these people that had the whole plan. It was a collective group from the get-go. But if there was a way to somehow put one person on that top of the hill, naturally you and I, together and separately, we'd have done it differently, probably. A little bit more visual, maybe. But what they have done in reality, for history's sake, and you and I both know this really well, Native American, the 7 generations out. I mean, when you really look from top to bottom, once you do study the laws and orders top to bottom, irregular, unconventional, asymmetrical, and all the different warfares top to bottom that's been used. And then the numbers. The 17s, the triple threes, the triple nines, the triple fours. When you look at all the things, I mean, maybe I'm bragging just a little, but you got to look at this too. I mean, the first time I heard this, I mean, Tom Numbers told me, I had no idea. I had never run the gematria on my name before until 2022, and Tom goes, hey, has anybody run the gematria of your name? And I'm like, no. And I've never done it. So he was just like, all right, boom. 138. Derek Johnson, 138. He was like, 138, Donald Trump. And then 45 plus 46 plus 47, 138.
That's amazing.
You can't make this stuff up. Like I tell people, we all of us, not just me, you, and operators, secret military, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, we are all on a godly calendar if you're following God or the spiritual being that you believe. If you're following that, if you're trying to be a good person, if you're trying to fight for humanity, you're trying to fight for civilians, like we're on that godly calendar. And when you apply those numbers, then, I mean, you just can't. 138, what are the odds at? 40. What are the odds in history that it took place? 45, 46, 47. And then all the other numbers add up around it, and it blanket that. And then you look at the operations, and you look at all the moving pieces, the chess pieces. I mean, it's just, it's hard. No one can argue that if they know all that. And then, the ones that falter, well, they were just meant to be back there in this. And my grandfather, who was the Native American, he'd say this all the time, and he didn't mean it in any kind of cold way, but at the same time, he said, look, God created the world. He created man and woman. And then he said, there's a time appointed a man to die. And he said, anybody who is not doing the will of God, they're going to die just like you and I. But you and I are working towards the kingdom. They're not. And God knows who's working towards the kingdom and who's not. And those who aren't, they better be fearing the Almighty God who can just take them like that. See, and that's why I tell people, I'm not a preacher, but I do read the word where it says, hey, 1,000 will fall at this side and 10,000 will fall at this side. No weapon formed against you will prosper. And then the 23rd Psalm, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thine art with me. And then it says, I will prepare a table in front of your enemies. Man, that's, if you don't get chill bumps over that, like when you're doing God's will and you're looking forward and not looking at the distractions, there's nothing in the world that's going to touch you, harm you, or anything, you know. And man, I get excited over it because it's just we're watching, and then I'm excited from the standpoint. My grandfather in September would have been gone 20 years, and the very things that he taught me, the puppet government, the government exile, the strategic warfare, irregular warfare, all those topics that I listened to as a young fellow up, is playing out right in front of our eyes. But it's playing out, taking our nation back, the very things that they talked about that we needed to do. And no one, our shout out to our audience member, no one up here, we're part of the big balls tribe, right? No one during these years back here, until a bunch of men and women behind the scenes were saying, hey, we got to throw a plan. We got to put together a plan. We got to have a strategic plan. And when you look at what that war room will look like, and I've been in I think 2 war rooms one time, got to see that. It's really freaking cool. That's an honor in itself. But I mean, the board of which these generals would have had, I mean, how can you describe it, right? How can you describe, like, all right, a chronological order of all these things that are going to take place, and every day, every time signature, every time everything is so pinpoint accurate on God, and then also for humanity. So it is what when we say it's a great time to be alive. Yeah, what a great time.
Totally. Bishop Jim and I just finished, right before you and I came on, recording a show that'll go live on Friday. It will be posted, I guess, is a better way to say it, on Friday. And to the point you were making about being in God's light and with God's army or not, I asked Bishop Jim, and everybody can watch the whole show when it comes out. It'll be on his network. I asked him about the seal, and over these next 2 months, and what he has decoded biblically is that a seal is going to be placed on the third eye, the forehead of every man, woman, and child across the planet. And that will be a seal of approval by Creator or a disapproval. And that is coming, and it's biblically decoded. And this is directly from Bishop Jim to everybody. I mean, here we are over the next 8 weeks. And he said it will be a seal that's going to be sent out by the archangels as it is written. So here we are in a full-on spiritual war first. And we're coming across all of these incredible timelines and literally like a quantum engine, which comes straight from our Creator, using math, using numbers, using other signs in the sky and through his own avatars and President Trump and the White Hats, you name it, to literally tell everybody that it is getting on in a big way. And the choice is being made by the Creator of who stays and who goes. That is something that no matter what you carry as a sidearm, no matter what you believe, right, it is up to the one who created you to choose whether you stay or you go. I kind of want to play that music, like, do you stay or do you go now? But anyway, take away from the power of the moment. And as we wrap this up, everybody, remember, unfortunately, Rumble will close off the incredible live chat of hundreds of you have been posting. Can't keep up. Admakimba606 says the George Washington of today is General Valley. Washington of today is Valley. So he likes to have that rhyme. And I also want to acknowledge Lieutenant General Thomas McInerney. And for the people who can see the plaque here on the screen but are unable to read it, at West Point, since the establishment of West Point, every McInerney boy, this is a legacy family, has went to West Point Military Academy. And as Lieutenant General Thomas McInerney here on this show has said, I am the last McInerney standing. So what you see from left to right, the pictures are 1923, 1952, 1959, 1959, and 1960. So two 1959s. Why? Because Lieutenant General McInerney is a twin and had a twin brother. And so it reads here in the plaque from the top down, in the McInerney family, then right below the foes, it says James E. McInerney, 1923. Then it reads, and if this doesn't give everybody chills of patriotism for the sacrifice and the service this family has endowed to America and to the light of God, I don't know what will. It says Major General James E. McInerney Jr., 1952, U.S. Air Force, record holder for the most surface-to-air missile sites destroyed in the world. Then it goes, John A. McInerney, 1959, passed away 6 months after graduation. That's Lieutenant General McInerney's twin brother. They graduated West Point together in 1959. They're great friends with Major General Paul E. Valley, and the one twin brother, John, dies. Lieutenant General Thomas G. McInerney, who we're speaking about, 1959, West Point graduate, commander of the 3rd U.S. Air Force, command pilot with 407 combat missions. Lieutenant General McInerney did 4 tours of Vietnam. He volunteered for Tour 4 and flew 407 combat missions. And then finally it says, right above duty honor country, the last line is Captain Richard N. McInerney, 1960, killed in action, company commander, 1st Cavalry Division during his 2nd tour in Vietnam. So still surviving today at 88 years old, Lieutenant General Thomas McInerney lost 2 brothers, his twin brother 6 months after they graduated West Point. And the following year, his older brother was killed in action in Vietnam during his 2nd tour. So the men and the women who are serving, the folks, when you gather around the table this Thanksgiving, and for everybody else around the world beyond America and those boundaries right now, Derek and I wish you a cherished Thanksgiving vibration of what it means to give true thanks, eternal thanks for being here at this point in time, for all the white hats who have served and those who are still serving us today, to not only keep us safe, but restore us to law, order, justice, and then peace and prosperity on the land. And I think we'll leave it there for now.
Sounds great.
All right, my friend, you have a great, safe drive, and a happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and your dad for his service and your mother for hers as well. For many people that don't know, just leave it there. Amazing. And thank you as well to you. Right? And we'll talk to you in a little bit, in a few days. God bless you all for watching too. Please add some comments down here. Get after Rattletrap 1776. We'll talk to you all later.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
You got it. All right, you sovereign souls, now is the time to protect your money with gold and silver if you already have not. And if you are and you have a chance to do so, I highly encourage to do so even more, because gold and silver will launch the golden age, which Commander-in-Chief Trump has continuously referenced.
The dollar is going down, and it's not a pretty picture, and it's not being sustained by proper policy and proper thinking. This was an opportunity, and maybe an opportunity to show people what's happening with the dollar so that we can do something about it.
Get some if you can. BuddhaLovesGold.com will take you to our partner Gold Co. They have over 6,000 5-star reviews. This is why now is the time to buy gold and silver, because we have thousands of Americans buying gold today. The rising inflation has reduced our purchasing power. Dysfunctional politics don't work for us. The US dollar has lost over 97% of its value since 1913, while the price of gold has increased over 9,000%. Silver has fared well against the dollar too, with the silver price increasing over 4,500%. since 1913. It's about wealth protection. Physical precious metals act as a hedge against dips in volatile markets. Go over to BuddhaLovesGold.com. That's www.BUDDHA, BuddhaLovesGold.com. You will download your free silver and gold guide today, and our great people over there at Goldco will take care of you. That's BuddhaLovesGold.com. You'll see a picture of me right on there, Brad Wozny. And once again, BRICS is the new financial system. Asset-backed precious metals is the way of the future. This is about financial control. Diversifying your assets with gold and silver puts you in control of your wealth at BuddhaLovesGold.com.